The Brewers ride their bullpen at a terrific start from Colin Rea, and not much offense to talk about, but just enough. And they beat the big market New York Mets, who are struggling. We'll talk about all that. And someone asked me, would you trade Christian Yelich right now? We'll get to all that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Good to have you along after a Brewer win in New York. Yeah, those big market New York Mets can't beat the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers took them down 2-1 to open up the 4-game set. Brewers, back when they got off to that great start, swept the 3-game series from the Mets at AmFam Field, and they start this night, this part of the road trip, on a great note by taking down the Mets, and they've won 3 of 4 so far on the road trip. Justin Verlander, I know he wasn't the pitcher record, but they made him work for 100 pitches. They did. I thought it could even been better approached by the Brewers tonight, but they got a great pitching performance from Colin Rea, much better than any of us expected, and we had to hold on for dear life, but got the win. We'll get to all that coming up here in a little bit. Hi, everybody. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Follow us, download us on Google, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. We're on all the major ones. We're everywhere. Locked On Brewers every day, talking Brewer baseball with you for 30 minutes after every game right here on the various download platforms. Please look us up, set your alerts so you get that download the first thing in the morning. And of course, on YouTube, our growing YouTube audience. Find us on YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell over there, and that's going to alert you every time we drop an episode. And of course, I'm on Twitter. Always love hearing from the great fans. We read some of your tweets, of course, at me during the show. Always we do that. Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, we are Locked On Brewers, the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet. And the reason why is because you guys out there, you fans, you guys who make the Milwaukee Brewers your team. Again, Chuck Freeman, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, been covering for AP Radio for over 40 years, longtime talk show host, and morning sports anchor at 1310 WIBA in Madison. Yeah, they started off, the Brewers got down early. Colin Rea gave up an early run, but he stuck around for 6 1/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run. That's the deepest that Rea has gone in a game since 2016. They took him out after 1 batter in the 7th, and I'm glad they let him pitch the 7th. At least 1 batter. Maybe would have liked him go a little longer, but I get it. Okay, Colin Rea got the job done. He did great. Again, Colin Rea, I didn't expect 6 1/3 of 3-hit baseball of him ever in a game. But after 2 shaky performances in recent weeks, he bounces back and gives them the kind of effort because the offense wasn't responding. Another one of those nights where the Brewers offense put up 6 and 7 runs and wins in Cleveland, came back, and we've seen this from these guys before, a little flat. Okay, stranding runners on base, 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. You got to believe they became the 2nd team in Major League Baseball to win this year with that kind of production. 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. But thanks to Wiemer blasting a 2-run home run, that came off Drew Smith. Did not come off Verlander. Verlander, he was out of there after 100 pitches. He went 5 innings. And the Brewers did make him work, but I thought they could have made him work a little bit more. I did think, if I want to be critical on this, and I'm sorry if I am here, but Verlander, 5 innings, 5 hits, 5 Ks, 100 pitches. I still think the Brewers helped them out a little bit at the plate. Okay, that's just my view on that. I think that they helped him out on the plate. That's not taken away from the Brewers' victory, but I think Verlander, man, he couldn't throw a strike. He was all over the dish. and felt sometimes a few of these guys helped them out. But thanks to Wiemer's home run, the 2-run blast off reliever Drew Smith in the 6th inning, and that was the story. Yeah, Verlander out after 5 innings. Verlander had not pitched all that great. He had 9 starts since coming off the injured list. Wasn't real good, an ERA in the mid-4s. And, he was okay, just except for the wildness, because the Brewers are helping him out. 100 pitches. He's aging. I don't think he's quite done just yet. Some people might think he is done. I'm sure Mets fans are all over him. And the Mets, how about that? Biggest payroll in Major League Baseball. They're 8 games under the 500 mark. They're 35-43. And they had just 3 hits. 3 hits. Devin Williams, 1, 2, 3 in the 9th. 2 weak grounders and a foul out to end the game. And the Brewers win the opener. And the Boo Birds are at it. The Boo Birds are at it in New York. And that's, you know what? Here's the thing I don't want people to say. And I heard A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, on the Fox broadcast on Sunday morning. He was doing Cardinals and Cubs. And he said, well, Major League Baseball has done a great job. Everybody's playing on a even playing field and all that. And, these big markets, and you get these small market teams getting in there. Shut up. I don't want to hear that. I don't. You know darn well, okay, because you've been playing in big markets. You know darn well it's grossly unfair in Major League Baseball. And yes, the Mets with a $450 million payroll should be embarrassed that they're 8 games under the 500 mark. Flat out embarrassed that a team like the Milwaukee Brewers can come in and nickel and dime them, and they're 41-37. But that doesn't mean baseball's fixed by any means. I mean, the Mets, I look more of it, the Mets, $450 million. Oh, people will say, well, the Brewers with this $118 million payroll are right there with the New York Mets. They beat them 4 times this year. I look at that more as Mets incompetence as anything than equal playing field. Okay. That's Mets incompetence. Buck Showalter not using his best relievers in Sunday's loss. I mean, that's just, over managing. Classic Buck Showalter. It's cost him jobs in the past. But hey, yeah, there's a continued problem in baseball. So I don't want to, the small market team, the Milwaukee Brewers beat the big market New York Mets. Yes, but that's Mets incompetence. Okay. And the Brewers have been getting it done, nickel and diamond teams. They're not winning World Series titles, but they're competing in recent years for division titles. And as of this taping right here, they're back on a first place tie with Cincinnati and probably going to move ahead. Last time I checked, Baltimore was up 7-3 on Cincinnati, and the Reds are headed for their 3rd straight loss after winning 12 in a row. How about Peguera? 3 straight performances for him. He had to save his first save on Sunday. They used him again on Monday, and he got the job done. The bullpen was magnificent in relief of Rea. And I can't say enough for Devin Williams. Coming in, he's had 1 blow up this year. That was in Minnesota, and made things look relatively easy with that 6-pitch save in the heart of the New York Mets order in that bottom of the 9th inning. Wow. Huge win. 3 more left in New York against the New York Mets. You wonder how long Buck Showalter is going to stay around, but that's not our problem. Our problem is the Milwaukee Brewers. It's not a problem. I say that's what we're concerned with, and getting some offense. They got by with very little offense. Hope this is not a trend, okay, of relying on the pitching staff doing all the work, because they're going to need some offense. As my podcast said yesterday, winning offense equals winning, and I really do believe that. Score runs, score 4 more runs. The Brewers are 36-6. They leaned on their pitching heavily, and thank God Colin Rea was there to answer the bell, because if he's not, they probably lose. And the Mets being so incompetent and so bad. I can't imagine if doing Locked On Mets right now. I'd be just losing my mind on a team that is supposed to win the New York East, the New York East, the NL East. It might as well have been in New York. It should have been the New York East. Them and the Braves. So the Braves are running away with them. That's like 15 games out. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk about Christian Yelich. Someone asked me on Twitter today if I'd trade Christian Yelich. Two-part in that. I also want to talk about, I think we're getting I think we're giving Yelich a little bit too much credit for the season he's having. Okay? A little too much. I don't think it's just quite as good as people think or want to go on it, but I'm hearing people gloat about his season. We'll get into all that. Also coming up between now and quitting time, we'll preview tomorrow's series. Julio Teheran on the hill. All that coming up next. The show brought to you in part by eBay Motors. eBay Motors, a great sponsor here on Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. eBay Motors, for a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can make sure every part you need fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage. That's all you need to do. Add it to My Garage right there and look for the green check to know that the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop eBay Motors. With over 122 parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home the win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices. On ebaymotors.com, let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. All right, the Brewers will take on those New York Mets in the second game of the series. Coming up Tuesday night, 6:10 with the broadcast. Catch every pitch of the Brewers' hometown broadcast. Sirius XM, the SXM app, search Brewers, and you're going to catch all 162 on Sirius XM. Brewers and Mets, 6:10 Central Time on Tuesday night. Hey, everybody, thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. Thank you for downloading us and having us set. You comment. I see your comments. I see you messaging me on YouTube. I read all those comments. You all brilliant, smart Brewer fans got some great takes out there. I see them on Twitter. You everydayers. I see some of you guys out there every day messaging me, and I love it. I love hearing from you. I love your response. I love your enthusiasm. And we're either going to go down with the ship with the Milwaukee Brewers, or we're going to win this division. We're going to do all this together because the Milwaukee Brewers are my favorite team, even though I cover them, my favorite professional sports team, like you all are. And I know you guys are invested every night because I see you guys, what you're writing. And so I know you're watching every pitch just like I am. Okay, we're coming right back. And we'll get to the what I was telling you about Christian Yelich. Would you trade him or not? All that next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Your host, Chuck Freeman. Thanks for everybody joining us. Google, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. That's another platform. Downloading us, setting us as a priority every morning or afternoon, listening to us whether you're driving around the car. You got that significant other chirping in your ear. You don't want to hear it anymore. So you turn on Freeman and Locked On Brewers, and we'll take you through that rush hour traffic in the morning or afternoon. Thank you very much. And also YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. After you find Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell right there. It's going to alert you every time your boy Freems drops an episode here on Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. All right. So on high heat. And yeah, once in a while, you're going to get a name wrong. Okay, I've done it. We have all done it. Freudian slips. Those things happen. Mad Dog Russo on high heat, who I like from his days at WFAN in New York. And I love his high heat show. He does his homework and he works his butt off and studies this stuff. But, these national guys, they always get our names right or our names wrong. He called Woodward today. Well, when they get Woodward back, that's going to solidify the rotation. Mad Dog, Woodward. Did you mean Woodard? Steve Woodard, who pitched here in the late 90s and 2000s? Woodard. Woodward. Brandon Woodruff, it is. But again, I just thought it was kind of funny. We all make mistakes. I get it. But I just think we notice those mistakes. We see our team every day. And when people mistake one of our players' names, we're like, whoa, okay. So they must make mistakes all the time. Just like, again, I'm not going to throw darts at anybody. It just was just odd to hear Russo make a mistake like that. Christian Yelich. How can you justify him being an all-star? 276, 9 homers, 34 RBIs. That doesn't scream all-star to me. It doesn't. Nah, not at all. I mean, all-star to me, 310, 18 homers, 50 RBIs. That's all-star. I see some guys in the National League having way better years than Yelich. He's not going to be a starter, but as a reserved, that is pushing it. Yelich, 276, 9 homers, 34 RBIs. I'll be curious what you guys think. Those seem very pedestrian numbers for me, for Yelich. And I'm not lowering the bar on the guy at all. Although I should say my expectations, in a clutch situation, I don't expect him to come through like I once did. Okay. Got on base 3 times on Monday night, but 276, 9 homers, 34 RBIs, 17 stolen bases. I think he's got, doesn't scream out to me all-star. Just doesn't. Somebody wrote to me on Twitter, would I trade Christian Yelich? Absolutely. To get $25 million off the books, $26 million, whatever it is. Now, several years ago, no way. We all thought that was a steal for Christian Yelich. But my God, in a heartbeat, single A prospect, just to get him off the books. I mean, you want to pay $25 million a year for 20 homers and 276? Not with my friend, not with the Milwaukee Brewers. Had to take a quick drink of Diet Mountain Dew there. No, not with the Brewers. If I could get that off the books in a second, in a heartbeat, as much as this team needs offense, Christian Yelich, a big enough sample size for me that $25 million ain't worth it. So yeah, I can trade him in a second. Also read a number on Twitter tonight. Twitter's awesome. Sometimes Twitter, you got to cross your eyes once in a while reading Twitter. But I saw this number on there. Rowdy Tellez, 6 multi-hits. Somebody tweeted this at me. Rowdy Tellez, 6 multi-hits since 6 multi-hit games since late April. That's brutal. For a heart of the order guy, goes back to what I said about Rowdy. I never looked at him as anything better than a platoon player at best. I just 6 multi-hit games since late April. The guy's in there every day too. Perkins, don't be getting picked off. I mean, stop it right now. I mean, Sunday was bad enough. You got picked off first late in the game in a tie ball game with nobody out. Catcher threw you out tonight at first base. I mean, that's like, when a running back fumbles a couple of times, good old Mike McCarthy, he got that guy out of there. Okay. Perkins picked off twice in 2 days. That's a problem. Even though he's hitting well, okay. Even though a running back is, carrying you offensively, by fumbling the football, he's killing you. Perkins picked off twice in 2 days. Will somebody talk to him, please? Somebody tell him, stay on the base. Take a 3-inch lead if you have to, but don't ever get picked off ever again in clutch spots. My gosh. I believe there was runners at the corners at the time. Brewers did win 2-1 over the New York Mets. We're going to get to Tuesday's starter. And even though there's a lefty on the mound for the Mets, I think the Brewers can win it. Our guy Teheran on the hill. We'll get to that coming up. Vinnie Rottino, is there anything that guy does that I don't like? I love his breaking down of games. I said this earlier in the season when he was in the broadcast booth. I mean, I like him on the panel, but in the broadcast booth, he was, the guy must go to his hotel room and study the game. I mean, I know he knows the game already, and he's got a high, the guys who got the high baseball IQ. That's Vinnie Rottino. But he's also studying. He's doing his homework for these games, and I love it. I love Vinnie Rottino. That guy, to me, he's headed for bigger. He could be headed for bigger or better things. Network. I see network in that. Guy's got the look. Guy's got the knowledge. He's likable. I love Vinnie Rottino doing games. And not just because we're from the same hometown, Racine, Wisconsin, and he went to the high school that my grandfather went to. Although I don't really call Racine my hometown. I kind of call Greendale my hometown. But Vinnie Rottino, love him, love him, love him. All right. Game 2 coming up against the Mets at Citi Field, Shea Stadium. I know Shea's not there anymore. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Thank you very much. And by the way, Vinnie Rottino is a viewer of this show. Appreciate Vinnie. I found that out after I was at the game a couple of weeks ago. And everybody out there, thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. Number 1 download of Brewers baseball on the internet. Thank you. Google, Spotify, Apple. Go to YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe. Hit that bell right there. It's going to alert you every time. And please follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman. Put your comments on YouTube. Always love hearing them. Brewers and Mets coming up on Tuesday night, 6:10 with that first broadcast. You get every game of the Brewers broadcast, all 162 on Sirius XM, the SXM app. Search Brewers. It's going to be right there for you tomorrow night, 6:10 Central Time, Brewers and Mets. I'm running so late here on time here. I'm going to have time to do any tweets. I got to get a couple of these in anyway. Let's get a few of these anyway. Sam says offense was so bad today. Lots of traffic, but not a lot of run. Not a lot of runs. A win is a win. Pitching was great. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've been down that road before and lost these kind of games. We've lost these. And let's face it, 2-1, middle of this game, 6th inning. Bullpen locked it down, and thanks to Rea for the work he did in his first 6 innings. Get Euchre a ring. Verlander couldn't throw a strike, yet our hitters bailed him out time in, time again. Yeah, that's exactly it. I said that earlier. Yeah, they bailed him out a few times. There's no doubt about that. Heard a stat that the Brewers set a record from before the 1900s for winning despite stranding 24 runners. I didn't hear that stat. Were they keeping runners left on base before the 1900s? I don't think so. Kevin writes, the Duke of Watertown. Good game tonight. Go Brewers. Ty says, to be honest, we should either win 3 or sweep the series. The Mets are reeling. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that. Mets are still, they got some talent on that team. Remember, we wanted to sweep the Oakland A's a couple of weeks ago, and we know what direction that was. One game at a time. Wade says, Perkins getting picked off twice and caught stealing in only 2 games. Wow, yeah. I just talked about that. Mike says the Brewers pitching deserves all the credit tonight. Phenomenal job done by Rea and the bullpen. All right. Absolutely. Pitching carries the way. Leaned a lot on the pitching, and Julio Teheran, 6 great starts for the Brewers. Can he make it 7 at Shea at Citi Field? Coming up on Tuesday night. He's 2-2. He's got an ERA of 1.53. Could be 6-0 at this point. He's been that good. 6-0. Julio Teheran. Who said that tonight? I heard somebody. Oh, Tim. I think the world of Tim Dillard too. I think he's great too. Dillard on the broadcast says on the postgame show on TV on Bally Sports said he's like Maddox. He's doing his best Greg Maddox impersonation. He is hitting the corners, throwing 4 different pitches, missing bats. Julio Teheran, the sample size is there. Great. One of the best pitchers right now in baseball. Stat-wise, over the last 6 outings, Tim also mentioned something about that on the broadcast. The 6'6", 230-pound lefty, David Peterson, just called up from AAA. He was 1-6, got sent down to mid-May. The Mets need a 5th starter. And here, David Peterson, the start against the Brewers. He's 1-6, an 8.08 earned run average. Left-handed pitcher. Okay. Let's not make him look like Sandy Koufax out there. Let's the chance to get to this guy. And I know these are the kind of guys, these are kind of just the guys who give the Brewers issues. 1-6, an ERA of 8.08. So what's going to happen? Peterson goes 6 strong innings and a 5-1 win. Oh, I hate to think that way, but you all know what's coming tomorrow night. Come on, Julio, give him one. Get this offense going again tomorrow night against Dave Peterson. Got to win, 2-1. Wiemer's home run. Joey cranks it up, deep center field, and game, set, and match. Game 1 in New York to the Brewers. They got the weekend series coming up with Pittsburgh. So let's at least gain a split in this series with the Mets. Back in first place at the NL Central, sliding ahead of Cincinnati, assuming the Reds still got beat as they were down 7-3 against Baltimore. But we're going to be back tomorrow night. Hopefully Julio gives them a good one. 6 in a row. Can he make it 7? We'll talk about it tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Locked On Brewers. I'm Chuck Freeman. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. So long, everybody.